Well, it is exciting to have business owners who really take on the world and have very successful businesses, even with all the challenges there are to be successful on this planet. We've got an expert here. They had a great half hour of discussion with them already. We're doing another half hour with them. Stay tuned, everybody. This is the Your Little Castle Show. Welcome, everyone, to Your Little Castle Show. We are talking about moving, and somebody who started a company in one of the biggest cities in the world, number 3 largest city in the country, based out of Chicago, Illinois. We've been up there many times. We've got another clip here we'll share with one of our visits, the Bean. I got a picture up there, and the camera guy came up to me. He goes, "Hey, man, who are you?" I said, "Let me show you some professional stuff you can do." And he took us underneath it. And it's all that great reflective. It's kind of a neat little exhibit there. But Chicago's got lots of excitement. With that, I wanted to talk to you about. You talked about Illinois in and of itself is very strict with who they allow to have. I know that for roofing and construction, I didn't realize for moving they do a similar thing. It's something like it might even be more high level of criteria required. Tell me about what is required to start a moving company in Illinois.
Well, anybody can start a moving company, but to operate in Illinois, you have to be fully licensed and insured per the Illinois Commerce Commission. So there are unfortunately a lot of moving companies who are unlicensed and uninsured operating, and you want to try to avoid those companies because you can get yourself into some trouble, some sticky situations, and then you're not covered the way you need to be. We are fully licensed and insured. The process of getting that license is very difficult. You've got to get approved to take a test in Springfield, Illinois. You've got to go down there, take the test. It's very long, a lot of questions. After you pass that test, if you pass it, then you have to get approved to go be in front of a judge downtown in Chicago, and then sit with them and explain to the judge why you feel like you should have a moving company and get approved by them. And only after that, then can you start your moving company legally and operate legally in Chicago and in the state of Illinois.
Wow, yeah, that is quite the process there. But hey, good to have high standards so somebody can't just get themselves a truck and call themselves a moving company and may not even be insured. You think that's at least the minimum, but they do require that there. I know in Missouri it's a little bit more of the wild, wild west. You talked about Arizona. It is a little bit more of the wild, wild west in Arizona too. So something to be wary of, so that you know that you better ask them, are you licensed insured? Tell me a little bit about the differences there and what you have in Arizona.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier out there. You're not required to have a Commerce Commission license there. So if you own a truck and you've got a team, and you've got you want to operate, you can basically out there. It's a little bit more relaxed. So it's a whole different ball game out there. And the good thing is I'm not just some guy in Arizona who's trying to just start a moving company because I've already done it for several years. So I'm bringing all of that experience with me that I gained and earned in Chicago. So when you hire us in Arizona, even though it's a lot easier out there and you're not required to have the license and the insurance and all that, I already have all of that stuff from Chicago. So that carries with me to my clients in Arizona. So the experience, the license, the insurance, all of that comes with me and the service that you're hiring us for out there.
Good, so that you can provide good service to those in Arizona. I've got some friends down in Arizona too. Pretty hot down there at times. Chicago, you get the wide variety. There's a lot of snow during the winter. St. Louis, you get a little bit of that, but hot in both St. Louis and Chicago, but really hot down in Arizona. Have you experienced some of that already, I guess?
Yeah, so I'm kind of living the dream right now, the best of both worlds. I don't like to say it, but people say it to me all the time, so I just agree with them. But having a home in Chicago and a home in Phoenix, it allows me to go to Chicago in the summertime when the weather's great and enjoy all the food and reconnect with all my friends and family there. And we're also much busier in Chicago in the summertime because it is seasonal there. So it's good for me to be there to oversee operations. So I go to Chicago for the summers, enjoy all that stuff, stay on top of business, get out in the field, work with my team, work with my clients. And then as soon as that bad weather hits, I hop on a plane back to Arizona, focus on the business out there, and enjoy the good weather there because it's too hot in the summer in Arizona and it's too cold in the winters in Chicago. So I avoid both.
You got the best of that's it's part of the way you get to set up your business. That's smart way to run
I'm
your
a little
business.
spoiled. I'm not
Tell me
going to
so.
lie.
Well, and if you can pull it off and be successful, and that's what you've done. That's the hard part. People say it's just, oh, you just started a business. No, he had to learn. He had to get that going. Benefits of working with a small business like yourself. What is it you bring to the table for a lot of people that, they're very often they're going to be in a situation where they need to have attention. Right. This is an important event for everybody. So it can be one of the most stressful events that anybody goes through. So yeah, you help to make that easy for people. And being a small business, you can do a better job of doing that. Is that true?
Yes, 100%. And I tell all of my clients that too, because there's a lot of options out there. I mean, the competition, no matter where you are, Chicago, Phoenix, whatever city you're in, there's a lot of moving companies. That's just the way it is. So, one of the benefits to working with a small family business as opposed to a franchise or a company that's got several trucks, several employees, is we bring a small family approach. We care about you, and I'm not saying that the big companies don't, but we've got 24-hour communication. We've got the same employees that we work with every single day. Our turnover rate is not high. When you've got over 100 trucks or 200 trucks, you've got to find employees to fill those trucks, and sometimes you have to go and look for those employees in areas where you're not going to find the most qualified people. That small family business approach that we bring allows me and my company to provide you with excellent communication, some of the most polite, friendly, hardworking movers that, like I said, I've ever had the privilege to work with. And that means something to people. You don't want to have guys that don't know what they're doing handling your move just because they had to hire anybody who would do it. You're paying for a service. Like I said, you're not buying a vacuum from us. You're taking your hard-earned money and you're paying for service. So you want to be able to receive good quality service from trained, certified professionals who care about you and your stuff, and that's what we do.
Very important. Yes, when you're going through the event, and boy, I've made a couple moves, and it's always exciting to say the least. And you make it easy for
Yep.
people. Tell me the process for somebody to get started with you. While you're talking there, I'm going to walk people through. I imagine a lot of people do find you through your website. Is that the best
Yep.
resource?
So we can start working on your formal estimate that we can send over to you. Your estimate will have the breakdown of what's included, the pricing you should be expecting, and a lot of helpful information in there for you. But it's very simple to get an estimate from us. We are also available for a phone call 24 hours a day. So even when the office closes at the end of the day, they get forwarded to one of our team members, including myself, so where someone is always there to answer your questions because not every client is going to have questions between the hours of 9 and 5 or are not going to be
Sure.
available to reach out to get an estimate between 9 and 5. So we try to be there 24 hours a day for our clients.
And that's one of the reasons we put together these videos is so that people can get to know you. Maybe you can answer some questions. They can feel more comfortable before they call and say, I got to listen to Richard talk with this weird cowboy guy for a long time and so they know what they're doing. They've got it together. When I figured out how to produce this, my mom said, you keep on doing what you're doing. You're really helping the small businesses. She owned a small tutoring center for a long time with my father. So the small businesses, they keep it up with the big guys. We're here to
Well,
help. That's what we love doing.
you know, I um, I want to be there for the clients, and I want the whole reason why I started this business in the first place was to help people get to the next chapter in their life, whatever that may be. And every day I'm coming up with new ways and better ways to improve the company, to make it a better experience for the client, which hopefully I've done, and it seems like I'm doing pretty good at. I learned about myself over the years that I'm an excellent problem solver and I'm very good with logistics. And those are two very important, qualities to have when you're running a small moving company. So rest
Write those
assured,
down. Yeah.
if you do want to get an estimate from us and you decide to hire us, you're going to be treated the way that you should expect to be treated, and you're going to get everything that you're paying for and then some.
Well said. With that, one of my favorite questions I like to ask is, what is the biggest mistake that the average homeowner makes when they're making a decision on who to hire for their big move?
I'm really glad that you asked this question because there's a simple answer to it. And it is that good movers aren't cheap and cheap movers aren't good. So what happens a lot of times is those companies who are unlicensed and uninsured, they're able to operate on a lower price structure than we are because they don't have all of those factors that we have: the insurances, the license, the advertising, the proper materials, tools, and equipment, and the right guys. When you go with the companies who are unlicensed and uninsured, the pricing might be better, so they dangle that carrot in front of you. And a lot of clients, they bite. They do. And then they get moving companies who don't show up, or they damage items and they're not insured, or they're guys that you just don't want in your house. So like I said before, and I'll say it again, you're taking your hard-earned money and you're exchanging it for good quality service. When you go with those lower pricing because it sounds great up front, typically you get low quality service, you get additional fees, price increases, or movers who cancel on you the day before or the day of your move because they don't operate the right way. So don't be fooled by the low price estimates. Usually, if it sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. And you don't want to be in a situation where you find that out on move day.
There you go, another one. If it sounds too good to be true, we've heard that one before. Write that down. It might be, and especially when you're gambling, this isn't something you don't just go doing a move every couple of weeks. It's not something that costs $200 or $300. What does the average person spend on a move these days? It's got to be in multiple thousands, I would
No,
imagine.
God, no. We keep our
Really?
pricing low and our quality high, and that's always
Okay.
kind of been the foundation of what we do here. And we don't have any surprises on move day. A lot of moving companies, what they do is they give you this low price, and then when you get your bill, you see all these additional fees and pricing that wasn't on your estimate. And we don't do that here. Our hourly rate is all inclusive. It includes everything. So there are no surprises at the end. The average move for a local move in Chicago could range anywhere from $500 to $1,500, and that's going to be
Okay.
determined by your specific move. How big is it? How far are you moving? What needs to be done? Do we need to disassemble furniture, reassemble it, wrap it up and protect it? And all of that is included in our hourly rate. There's no surprises there. That
Okay.
when we show up, we do all of that at no additional cost.
Nice. Okay. Residential and commercial. You said you're primarily residential, but you do a little commercial. What do you like about each? And why do you focus on residential?
We want to be there for anybody who needs movers. So we offer both residential and commercial. I would say 95 to 98% of our stuff is residential. Every once in a while, we get the clients who wanted to do the commercial moves. They've got a small office that they want to move from point A to point B, and we'll take care of that as well. We are trained in doing both. But yes, 95 to 98% of our moving that we do is residential. And I like doing that better, just because it has a more personal approach to it. It's like when you're doing an office move, you could be doing it for the business owner, but the employees are the ones that you're working with who are handling the process. When you're doing a residential move, you're typically working directly with the homeowner, which we like to do. And it feels more rewarding than the commercial moves for us.
Makes sense. And yeah, we all see the opportunity to help people, and you're taking the opportunity to help people with something very important to get their life in order and move on to their next level in their life. Because usually it's a move helping somebody who's going to a new job, and sometimes a new city, even at times. Very important.
Yep.
process. What do you like most about Chicago? We'll finish up with this question for the first half. We'll come back here and finish up our second half of this second show. But what do you enjoy most about Chicago?
It's, that question is very loaded because the answer to
Right?
that question is just there's too many answers to that question. I can give you a couple of the main reasons, which is the people. Love the people in Chicago. Most of the people that we get the privilege to work with are fantastic, and a lot of them are referrals or repeat clients. They're, which means we're doing something right here. It's people who have had the chance to work with us who either keep coming back or they're telling their friends, family, and coworkers, sending them to us. And it's really easy to book those clients, and they're usually great people. So it's the people, it's the food. Chicago, I think, has some of the best food anywhere on the planet. There's just so many good restaurants there. And then the weather. Summertime in Chicago, when you get those, mid 70s, mid 80s days where it's clear and sunny, we've got the skyline, probably the best one in the world, my opinion, of course, but just working with the people, eating the food, and enjoying the city itself. Those are probably the three biggest reasons why I love working in Chicago.
Great stuff here. We've got a nice piece here we're going to share. We'll be back here in just a minute. We're going to take a short break. I'm going to trim this break down a little bit because I got a bunch more questions to ask you as we finish up our second interview. Thanks to Richard Supran, who's the owner and president of The Collins Move, thecollinsmove.com, Collins Family Movers Incorporated. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be back here in just a minute.
Thank you.
The Millennium Park. We're getting close, everybody. Wow, check this out. This is pretty cool. Did we lose? All right, now we're going. Giddy up. Look at this. Wow. All right. You have to check out the bean. Tourist attraction.
His name is Carter Rathwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rathwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and three of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter?
Well, with that, we're back here, everybody, and we wanted to spend a little extra time here. I see you had a special guest there, it looked like, that might, she's welcome to join us if you like, but you have one of your big supporters there.
Yeah, probably my biggest supporter. You want to come say hi, baby? Go ahead. Say hello.
There she is. Hey, I'll put it on the, there we are.
Say hi, June. This is my daughter, June, here. Biggest supporter.
Hey, June, how are you?
All right, she's out of here.
June, help and Dad keep up the good work.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good stuff. Well, tell me a time though, with your many years of experience, where you had a client you could tell was kind of in a tough situation, and you had to kind of go above and beyond for somebody. That really helps us understand the character that you bring to the table.
Well, it's important to understand, like we were discussing earlier, that not everybody is moving for the same reason. Some people are moving for a good reason. Some people are moving for, a very sad reason. And whatever that may be, we have to bring that small family approach, that care and concern to everything that we do here, which includes being, attentive of your surroundings when you're out in the field, working with these people, getting them from point A to point B. There's been a lot of different situations, with all these years that I've had in the industry. You can imagine we've met a lot of people. Me personally, I've moved thousands of people door to door, and got to understand and experience what was going on with them in their life and why they're moving. There's a few that come to mind. I can remember at one time in the beginning of my career when I was first growing the business, there was an older woman that we were moving whose husband who had just passed away. And we like to get to know our clients, so we tend to have conversations with them during the move, and we just try to find out who they are and what they're doing and why they're moving. And she had explained to me her situation, and one thing I remember about her is she had her arm in a sling because she had just broken her arm too. She had a bad fall, and I just had a really deep care and concern for this woman in her specific situation. And I was doing her move personally because, like I said, I had this was when I was growing the business. So when all was said and done, we finished up with her move. It was time to collect payment, and she was just such a sweet, nice lady. And I knew that she was on a budget. So when she asked me how much the bill was, I told her it was nothing. I did her entire move for free for her. Now, we can't do that for everybody, of course, because I do have a business to run here. But this was at a time when I was still growing the business, and I personally did her move. And just her story and her situation, it touched my heart in a way. So it allowed me that opportunity to do her move free of charge for her. And I remember how happy she was, and she was crying and just saying how thankful and grateful she was. And just to see that I was able to do something nice and help her in just that little way. I didn't change her life or anything, but it was important to her. How much that meant to her, that was part of the big, one of the big reasons why I started this business, to help people. And if you're in a challenging spot and we can help you in a little way, even if it's just something small like that, we go above and beyond, and that's what we like to do for people here. So,
That's a perfect example. And sometimes people just, you can tell they're in a difficult situation, and they just need a little help. And I think there's a book that we've discussed a little bit of that book a little bit. It says, but I think the book says, whatever you reap, you will sow 10 times. And so you don't do it for that reason, but that's just kind of the way it works. And I've been fortunate after donating time and feeling like, oh, I'm really helping some people, the things that came back out of that. Keep that in mind, everybody. It kind of just makes sense, because the more people you help, the more the word spreads that you're somebody that likes to help people. So good stuff.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about a time in your business where you were like, wow, I didn't see that coming. That was a difficult situation you might have been through, but you learned from it and made you stronger. As business owners, we kind of go through those, it seems, every few months, if not more.
There's a lot of difficulties with running a business. Too many to list in this show. I can tell you that much. But we work in an industry that's changing every single day, and clients, I would say, also are trying to navigate through this difficult situation. So, we get a lot of clients who book an appointment with us, and on the day of the move, or even maybe the day before, turns out something goes wrong. A pipe bursts in the home that they're moving into, or the closing got pushed back, or the painters aren't done, or whatever that may be. So it gets really challenging when you've got a job set up for a client, and then they have to reschedule or push it back. But one thing that we're good at here, which I think clients will appreciate, is if you get put into one of those difficult, challenging situations where you have to move your date, even if it's last minute, there's no penalty to do that with us. And that's important, because a lot of moving companies, if you reschedule within a certain amount of time before your move or on the day of the move, they'll make you pay for a 2-hour minimum, or maybe the full estimate, or they'll make you book a whole separate move. And with us, we don't do that here. We do reschedules free of charge, and that's important. You want to feel like, if you have a difficult situation that pops up on your end, you're not going to be taken advantage of by a company or have to pay additional money. And to answer your question, I've learned about myself over the years that I'm an excellent problem solver and I'm very good with logistics. So it's important to have a guy on your team and a company on your team who's good with navigating through those challenges that you may have and not having any penalties for you to have to do so.
Well said, yes. And those are some great skills to be able to bring to the table. And I'm sure, as most expert business owners, you find the things that you're not good at, and you find people that can take care of those too. So that's part of delegation and running a successful
You
business.
got it.
Good work you put together there. With that, I like to talk a little bit about how media has changed the way the world functions. We've got our book here. I wrote the foreword here. This is a #1 seller on Amazon called Magnetize Your Media. You can see they even took my professional picture. They said they had to put that in there. But I wrote essentially, it said you wrote the first chapter. We needed somebody who really talked about how media impacts, because I do so much with media. I had a video last week, got 1.1 million views. And so we like to generate those and highlight those people that are making an impact in our business. But tell me, with that, Richard, how has media, technology, social media, web development, websites, getting reviews, all those things you've done pretty well, how have those impacted your business here over the years?
Well, it's been phenomenal. I think for any business that's out there, because so many people are on social media and they spend a lot of time on their phones. So it's a good way to get your name out there. Now, remember, when I first started my business back in 2009, social media was not as big as it is right now. So in order to grow the business, everything had to be word of mouth or a much more limited platform to get yourself out there. And we worked very hard to get where we are at today. Now with the social media and all of the digital marketing and all that stuff, it's much easier to get your name out there. So it's been tremendous for us. If you go look on Yelp, which is kind of where Yelp just started right around the time that I decided to do my own moving company. Yelp was huge for us in the beginning because when we would go do a move, clients would go on Yelp, and that's where they would leave their positive feedback for other people to see, and that's how that was a big way that we grew the business. Now you've got your Facebook, your Instagram, and hundreds and hundreds of other platforms I mean, I get clients that call us who are looking for estimates that say they heard of us on Reddit. I don't do any advertising with Reddit at all. I don't use it. And I don't even know how we got there, but I guess Reddit is a platform where people talk about, there's discussions and things like that. So I'm getting clients who are coming out to us now and reaching out to us for estimates and just to discuss their projects from things that I don't even know about. Reddit, AI, if you go ask Alexa or Siri or whoever, Claude, who's the best moving company around here, they're recommending us, and I didn't know that. So it's been tremendously helpful for us.
All right. As we finish up, we've got about 10 seconds left. What's the biggest mistake some of the other big moving companies make that you won't let your clients make? We're not naming any names, of course, but finish up.
Just not bringing a
10 seconds.
personal touch to what they do, not caring about their clients, caring more about the business than their clients. And we don't do that here. We care more about you than the business. And that has been the foundation we have set and what our standard over here.